About a year ago, I made a video about why Maroon 5 is my favorite band, even though they're pretty infamous nowadays. But unlike that video, this one isn't gonna be about a band that gets a lot of hate. In this video, we'll be diving into the discography of a band that many people kinda forgot about, because I think they deserve to be remembered. Today, we'll be talking about Hey Violet. Before becoming Hey Violet, they began as an American rock band known as Cherri Bomb when they were in middle school. The band consisted of Nia Loveless on drums, Rena Loveless on guitar, Miranda Miller as rhythm guitarist and keyboardist, and Julia Pierce as the main vocalist. In 2011, they came out with their debut EP, Stalk. And it was actually pretty competent. And so was the LP that they came out with in 2012, This Is the End of Control, especially considering how young they were. I do personally like Hey Violet's music better, but as someone who previously hadn't given any of their music as Cherri Bomb a listen before making this video because, well, it was basically a completely different band, I'm actually very surprised by how good their stuff as Cherri Bomb was. And if you are more of a fan of rock music than pop, I'd actually recommend checking out Cherri Bomb. And I didn't expect to say that in this video. While they were the band Cherri Bomb, they opened for some other bands, including Foo Fighters and the Smashing Pumpkins. Those aren't gigs to sneeze at. In 2013, Casey Moeda joined Cherri Bomb as a guitarist. In 2015, the band broke up, and a new band, Hey Violet, officially began, with Nia on drums, Casey and Miranda on guitar, and Rena as the main vocalist. Their debut song as Hey Violet, This Is Why, came out on March 19th, 2015, and it was pretty different from the stuff that they made as Cherri Bomb. This was a pop-punk song, one that had some pretty good singing, showing that the band made a good choice when choosing who should be their main vocalist going forward. The song has a very fun and upbeat sound, but like most punk music, it also has a bit of an edgy vibe to it, partially because of the lyrics that are basically saying F you to an X. Not slowing down, that same year on May 29th, 2015, they came out with another single, I'm There.
I'll be wherever I'm needed, wanted, or even deleted, blind, or all things clear.
In my opinion, this is the best song that they ever made, and I'm not the only one who thinks that. The song has very thoughtful lyrics that also really resonate with you. The best part about this song though is how it doesn't start off with a very fun and punk sound like This Is Why. It actually starts out kinda slow, but then it builds up as the song reaches its climax.
We can go, we can stay, we can kill yesterday, we can laugh, we can cry.
I wish I knew more about music so I could describe it better, but this is just such an incredible song. In July 2015, the first official Hey Violet EP, I Can Feel It, came out. And it's an awesome EP. I love every song on it, especially the title track, I Can Feel It, which is just a wicked fun pop-punk song. One with a pretty sick guitar solo. Another awesome song on the EP is You Don't Love Me Like You Should, which has kind of a similar vibe to This Is Why. Something interesting about Hey Violet, which is one of the reasons why this video is probably not going to be as long as the video I made a year ago about Maroon 5, is Hey Violet don't really make albums. They made 2 albums, and outside of that, they just made a bunch of singles and EPs, and I think most of those songs are very good, but I'm gonna have to skip talking about some of these songs that they've made, because even though I do listen to them often, I don't really have enough to say about some of them to justify putting time into doing that in this video, rather than focusing more on the 2 albums that they did make, and a couple highlight songs that I am definitely gonna talk about. But just know me not talking about a song doesn't mean I don't don't like it. Okay, so in 2017, they put out their first ever album, From the Outside. And this album sounds completely different from the I Can Feel It EP. This time, they went in a full-on pop direction. And I think, overall, they did it successfully. There are some very good songs on this album. And there's also Guys My Age, which is the biggest Hey Violet song ever. It got 45 million views on YouTube, which is absolutely insane. So, yeah, this album definitely was pretty successful. Brand New Moves is a very fun song. So is Break My Heart, which is absolute fire. The song Where Have You Been is borderline kind of existential. 1,000 eyes are watching, but no one's really talking to me. I wonder if you could say this is how most celebrities feel. And ODD is a pretty relatable song about being like the odd one out. I also really like All We Ever Wanted and Unholy. Honestly, the only song on this album I'm not a big fan of is This Is Me Waking Up With You. I just don't like the chorus. This is me waking up with you. But you know what my absolute favorite song on this album is? Hoodie. This song is so good. It's one of my favorite songs they ever made. I love the big and like explosive pop sound it has, and the studio version is awesome, but my favorite version of the song is actually the London performance that they uploaded to their YouTube channel, because the singing in that version of it just has a bit more of a oomph to it. It just sounds better, and also kinda like it's got more passion put into it than the studio version. Like when it's being sung live, it feels like the song does come from an actual place.
If you want it back, I'm here waiting. Come take it back. Come and take it back.
Also, the singing at the end of the performance really sells it. Okay, now I'm just gonna be quickly talking about a few of the songs that they made after this album, which I think are highlights. Well, first actually, not a song that they made, but they did a cover of the Post Malone song, Congratulations, and they absolutely killed it. If you like Post Malone, like myself, I'd recommend checking it out. I also want to talk about Close My Eyes.
Close my eyes and I concentrate. You got me imagining.
The melody in the song is just so good. I love it so much. And I love Better by Myself.
I'm better by myself, better by myself.
It has such a unique sound, and I like how the music video just looks like a group of friends having fun making music. This was also the first Hey Violet song I ever heard. I found it a year ago when I was asking an AI bot to recommend me songs that have a similar vibe to Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, which is the most Gen Z thing I've ever said. Oh, and how could I not mention Pouty Girl?
Party girl, gotta stay high all the time, high all the time.
This is one of my favorite Hey Violet songs that they ever made. It has such a fun and addicting, upbeat sound to it. I've already listened to it like 200 times in the past 5 minutes. And even though, like I said, it sounds very upbeat, if you look at the lyrics, it's actually the complete opposite. It's basically a song about being someone who is infamous for just living up to others' low expectations that they have for you. Living up to essentially a character or parody version of yourself. And not to just talk about myself, but as someone who isn't a public figure, but kind of is like a public figure on a very small scale in like some small communities on the internet, I find that very relatable. Like, there have been many moments over the years where I have said or done something stupid, and people were like, that's just natural being natural. I mean, cartoon post being cartoon post. I'm also a big fan of the song that they did with the bands Viola, I think. The song is called Imaginary Friends, and I know it is a pop song, but I swear it is the most punk-giving pop song.
I never get too lonely when my imaginary friends, I got everyone around me.
Also, I want to know how they made that music video. Was it all one take, or did they make it seem that way through very good video editing? The content creator in me is obsessing over how they did it. Now, like I said, Hey Violet doesn't really get a ton of hate like Maroon 5 does, but there were some fans who didn't really like it that much when Hey Violet changed their sound and started making full-on pop music. But then, in October 2023, they came out with the song I Should Call My Friends.
Life goes on and it's alright, but in the late night, I hear their echo. Couple kids making dumb mistakes.
This was actually a bit of a pop rock song, one with a very nostalgic vibe to it. And the next song that they came out with in February 2024, Uncomplicated, also went back to their less poppy beginnings, though still being pretty poppy. And both of these songs would go on to be included on the tracklist for their official second album in June 2024, Aftertaste. This is basically Introspection, the album. A lot of the songs on it are basically about looking inwards and reflecting on where you are, who you are, or in the case of Don't Know Myself, who you don't know you are, and expectations and stuff like that. Along with other good songs, which tackle other themes like Dead to Me, which is more of a breakup song. This album has some of the most mature and thoughtful lyrics that they have ever made. And I said I'm There is the best Hey Valid song, but honestly, some of the songs on this album might make it at least a tie. One of my favorite songs on this album is Best Impasto. As you might be able to tell by the title, it's basically like a song about looking at all your accomplishments and feeling like an impasto. Like if you're someone who has over 700 subscribers and you're like, how do I even have more than 50? And it's a song about other people kinda doubting you and about you being afraid that you'll just become what they thought you would. And you won't be able to succeed at the things that you want to succeed at. But it's also not a song that's like, boo-hoo, feel bad for me. It's basically about acknowledging those feels and all that pressure and being like, okay, I'ma take that as a challenge. My favorite part of the song is this kind of triumphant moment that goes, they said I just got luck. Like I didn't cry and sweat and bleed my blood. Like I was nothing. I might be nothing, but they don't get to sit and write my end. They left out the part where I don't give in. Look, I love From the Outside, but in my opinion, Aftertaste is their best body of work. Better than their previous album and all of their EPs. On October 27th, 2024, Hey Violet performed the grand finale, their final show. And this performance, in my opinion, is the ultimate best representation of Hey Violet.
I'm gonna die, baby. I'll smile when I'm on the ground. I'll put daisies where I'm like a flower crown. I don't care what happens after. Or it might be crazy when I go on die after.
They also live streamed it for all of their fans at home, which is how I have footage to show of it. I remember when I was watching the live broadcast, I went to my bedroom, toned all the lights off, and toned the volume on my headphones way up to try to kind of simulate the feeling of being at a concert, at least, somewhat.
I'm just gonna look at you guys for a second because looking into your eyes, I can feel it. I can feel the energy.
I can feel it reference? Just kidding. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, this was an awesome show. Absolute peak Hey Violet. All the best aspects of their discography in an hour and a half. You got some punk vibes, great pop music. They played a lot of their hits, like Break My Heart and Hoodie. They played some of the songs on their final album, like Best Impasto, Die of Laughter, Hazy. They even played a song, Makeup, which is basically a song by them that they would exclusively play live, and it never got an actual studio release. But now, thanks to the very high quality recording of this concert, we essentially don't even need a studio version of it if we want to listen to the song in high definition. They also played I'm There, and I think this version of the song is better than the studio version. Like, they put so much passion and emotion into playing I'm There. Rena even started crying, and she still sang the song really good. It's a very powerful performance. The entire show was at this level of awesomeness. And I think it was because they knew that this was the last time they'd get to play these songs together. Unless they do a reunion show one day, but you know what I mean. And fittingly, the song that they played at the end of the concert was Bittersweet, their final song, which they released after their album, saying goodbye to everything that they've made and achieved with Hey Violet. One of the things I love about Hey Violet's music is how, like Maroon 5, they didn't just stick to one genre and one type of music. You never knew what you were gonna get with a Hey Violet song, and that makes getting into their music exciting. But the way the band ended is honestly the most compelling thing about their discography to me. I bet when Hey Violet began, they wanted it to last forever, and they probably wanted to become super famous and well known like the Beatles. I doubt they wanted their final album to not even have one song that has 1 million views on YouTube. And it's not like they didn't have any hits, and it's not exactly known why they split up, but I imagine the fact that the band kind of failed at building a consistent massive audience of listeners probably had at least something to do with it. But even though it didn't last forever, the band went out with a bang. They put out one final album, which in my opinion is their best body of music. They put out a very thoughtful goodbye song, and they put on one final show that was a celebration of everything awesome about the band, and that just really speaks to me. I love making these YouTube videos, that's why I put so much time and energy into this hobby of mine, and I don't wanna ever stop making YouTube videos. I wanna become a famous YouTuber one day, and still be doing this when I'm like 80 years old, but you never know how the future will play out. There could be a meteor shower one day right on top of my house, and then I wouldn't be able to make YouTube videos anymore, which would suck. But also, I'd be okay with that, because looking at all the fun times I've had making videos, all the fun videos I've made, all the videos I've made with my friends, and the fact I even got to collab with a YouTuber that I've been a fan of since 2020, there's nothing I would change.
No, there's nothing I would. No, there's nothing I would. No, there's nothing I would change. I thank you for the time of my life. Yeah, we've been on one hell of a ride. All the nights that we laughed and we cried, I wouldn't have it any other way. 9 years and there's nothing I would change. Thank you guys.